One of the topics I really got asked a lot is how do I set up my video equipment? How do I get this running? And since I'm setting up my new office, I might as well just show you guys a little bit of the gear I've accumulated over the years. And trust me, I've accumulated quite a bunch of different cameras and setups. And one thing I'll show you is how different cameras look like. Because a lot of people, they just use the camera on their laptop. And this is exactly the feed that you're going to see. This is coming from the Surface Book over here. Reasonably medium price, like quite expensive laptop when I first got it. But this is what normally people and a lot of people broadcast with. And this is perfectly fine for a lot of videos, but I think the obvious drawback here is the camera. It's a little bit lower. That's why you can see up my nose. That's why I can see if I need to trim my nose here. Sorry, I have to show you guys that. But that's one of the biggest problems people complain about with these laptop-based webcams. And especially right now, if you guys are doing more and more webinars and more sessions, you definitely want to look a little bit more professional. Now, the first piece of gear that a lot of people buy is a separate webcam. And I've done that. That's exactly what this is here. Here's a Logitech webcam. And let me quickly show you what that feed looks like. So this is the Logitech 4K camera. And this is one of the first purchases I made when I started video making. It's not too expensive. It's around $150 for this one particular model. And the reason why it costs a little bit more than most webcams is because it advertises itself as 4K. Now, the immediate benefit I would say with one of these cameras is that you can move it around. So more or less, a lot of times when these cameras are locked onto your laptop, you can't move them around and you just don't want that nose feel. So you can immediately see here, because it's at a higher angle, it doesn't actually look too bad. Especially if I put a green screen behind me. That's how I started making videos, using this webcam and then putting a green screen, and then you can start talking, and you're in pretty good shape because you don't have that nose effect. Now it's much harder to see up my nose. But of course, the quality isn't perfect. So even though it advertises itself as 4K, this is one thing that I got confused with. Even though it advertises itself as 4K, it's not very good quality. So the lens itself matters in this case. So even though I was going for the top of the line, Logitech 4K, whatever feature they're selling, advanced features that they put on a box, it has its limits because of the cheaper lens it's using. So sometimes it makes your skin kind of look very, I would say, kind of blurry. You don't have that finer rendering. And this is where we get to this camera right here. So right now, the way I'm recording it right now is off a Sony camera, and directly I'm taking that video feed and I'm sending it over to my computer over here. So obviously this part is a little bit hard because I have to show you what's happening, but let me go and take the camera and show you what's up. All right, guys, so this is the Sony camera that I had over there, and that was feeding directly into the computer. Now, it's on record mode, and usually I typically record on the camera and also record on a PC just for safekeeping. So you get two video files at the end, and I'll make another video about how I can combine video files together and synchronize them. That's definitely another session for another day. But for now, this is what the camera is. It by itself, this is the A7 III. It's not too bad. It's got a rather large lens. This is quite a flexible lens, so basically you can zoom in and out. It can be like, oh. And this basically makes it very suitable for a lot of filming environments. So I won't get too much into lenses here, but obviously you can experiment with different lenses. And sometimes, and most of the times, the more expensive they get, better. That's how Sony makes their money off your back. For that, usually what I do is I run off. There's an HDMI port here that I connect direct to my PC. So this is a cable connected to my PC. And on the PC side, I have the Elgato 4K capture card. So basically, this will output the information on HDMI. This will pass it through the cable into that capture card, and voila, you can kind of see me. Let me see if I can see myself. And voila, here it is. So you can see the difference between the Sony camera and the Logitech camera. It's actually quite a huge difference in terms of texture on my face and in terms of the color as well. Now, with these cameras, you can set the color profile, and that's yet another story. There's a lot of settings you have to play with, and I'll go into that a little bit later. So overall, this covers what I have in terms of video gear. I showed you the 3 different options from this little inbuilt webcam, which still, I would say works if you just want to start and just want to start creating. You know what? Just go with this one. It's what you already have already. And if you want to start investing and starting off first, the Logitech webcam is definitely a good starter. I worked with that for almost probably 7 months until I got my channel started, until I started seeing what I can achieve with that. This is when I took the next big step to upgrade to the Sony camera. So that's kind of the upgrade process. Yes, it's a little bit more expensive, honestly, to buy multiple pieces of gear as you progress. But what I found out is that if you invest all at one time into just the most epic camera, the most epic gear, sometimes that's an overinvestment. Sometimes you're not very sure of what style you're going for. So having these kind of incremental jumps made the most sense for me, and I don't regret it any bit. Anyways, guys, I hope that really helped with your video creation process. I'm going to talk a little bit about audio and how I'm trying to clean up various audio things here in a future episode. And if you have any questions about gear and what I use and what's happening right now, leave a comment down below. I'll love to answer those questions for you.